see in full color, vividly, with the mind's eye. They smell it. They can feel it. These abilities vary widely from person to person, but remember that any perception is filed in the memory and can be recovered. The mind is a well-built computer, and like any computer, has a method of locating data. If you are asked for the last time you saw a movie, your mind will hand out the date, which movie it was, the plot, who you were with, and many other details. The mind's data retrieval system is called the file clerk. Now, obviously, there isn't a little man in your mind handing out data, but the mind operates as if there were. In ordinary living, your file clerk hands out data at a rapid rate. The file clerk can retrieve data from both the analytical mind and the reactive mind. Let's look at exactly how this is done in a Dianetics auditing session. Auditing is the action of asking a person a question, which he can understand and answer.
Go to the beginning of that incident.
Getting an answer to that question.
Okay, I'm there.
And acknowledging him for that answer.
All right. Go through the incident and say what is happening as you go along.
This is a pre-clear. A pre-clear is someone who is receiving Dianetics auditing and is therefore on the road to becoming clear. A clear is someone who has handled all his engrams and no longer has his own reactive mind. This is an auditor. Auditor means one who listens. A person trained in applying Dianetics procedures is called an auditor. Dianetics does not use hypnosis, drugs, or trance techniques, and it is important to have the pre-clear drug-free and awake. A person should not have any alcohol within 24 hours before the session. If the pre-clear has had aspirin, he needs to wait 7 days before the session. Aspirin and drugs interfere with mental pictures. Let's look at the 10 steps of Dianetics auditing. These 10 steps are covered in Book 3, Chapter 5 of the book Dianetics. First, the auditor has to assure the pre-clear that he will know everything that happens.
We will begin the session now. You will remain aware of everything which goes on. You'll be able to remember everything that happens here. You can pull yourself out of anything which you get into if you don't like it.
The second step is to have the pre-clear close his eyes.
All right. Close your eyes.
The third step is the auditor has to ensure that anything said or done during the session will have no force or control over the pre-clear at a later time after the session. The auditor makes an agreement with the pre-clear to cancel this from occurring. This is called installing the canceller.
In the future, when I utter the word canceled, everything I've said to you while you're in a session will be canceled and will have no force with you. Any suggestion I've made to you will be without force when I say the word canceled. Do you understand? Good.
In the fourth step, the auditor has to locate and return the pre-clear to an incident. This must be something the pre-clear locates, and it is something he can comfortably face.
We're going to find an incident in your life of which you have an exact record. Then, by sending you through it at the moment it happens several times, we're going to reduce it. Locate an incident that you feel you can comfortably face.
Oh, okay. My husband and I are fighting in the kitchen.
The auditor now has to return the pre-clear to the incident that has been located. Returning means that the pre-clear must send a portion of his mind to that past incident so that he can re-experience the incident in the same fashion and with the same sensations as before.
Okay. Go to the beginning of that incident.
Now we come to the fifth step, getting the pre-clear to tell the auditor about the incident from beginning to end, while returned to it and experiencing it again. The auditor works with the pre-clear's file clerk to get data about the incident.
All right. Go through the incident and say what is happening as you go along.
My husband wants to go to a party his boss is giving. I just feel tired. I'm starting to get a headache.
Okay. Go to the beginning of that incident.
It is very important that the pre-clear goes through the incident as though it is happening at that moment, and not simply as a memory of something that happened in the past.
I tell him I just want to stay home. He gets mad and tells me he told them we'd be there and now I'm not going. I tell him that I just don't feel well. I look terrible. I'm starting to get a headache. I feel like an idiot. He's missing his party and it's all my fault.
Have the pre-clear go back to the beginning of the incident again and recount it.
I understand. Go back to the beginning and go over it. Pick up whatever additional data you can contact.
Okay. I'm washing dishes, and he's drying them. He's trying to get me to go to this party. I tell him I just want to stay here. He starts yelling at me. He says he promised them that we'd be there, and now I don't want to go. I tell him I just want to stay here. I look bad. I'm starting to get a headache. He gets mad and storms out of the kitchen.
Very good. Go back to the beginning and go over it. Pick up whatever additional data you can contact.
The auditor is listening for new data coming out of the incident. As long as more data is coming out of the incident, the charge is reducing.
Oh, yeah. The kids are running around knocking things over in the middle of all this. I'm trying to wash the dishes. I'm getting a headache. My husband keeps pressing me about this party.
The auditor must ask additional questions as needed to help the pre-clear recover more of the incident. Questions such as, what do you see, or what do you hear can be asked to help the pre-clear.
I just don't want to go anywhere. I want to stay here.
All right. What do you hear?
I hear the water running in the sink. And I hear the kids in the other room. My husband asked me why I can't go. He says he told them we would be there.
All right. What do you see?
I see the dishes and the sink.
Okay. Continue.
I tell him I don't want to go anywhere. I look bad. I'm getting this headache. He gets mad and he storms out of the room.
Good. Go back to the beginning and go over it. Pick up whatever additional data you can contact.